I met her on TikTok. I manage a restaurant. You've worked in restaurants, as you say. If you would like to come to Philadelphia, I will give you a place to stay, and I will hire you at the restaurant. She drove from California to Philadelphia. My whole discussion with her was to get her here, get her working, not charge her to live here, have her save her money to be able to go out and find her own apartment and be able to sustain life on her own. She was all for it, all for it. I hired her. I managed a Brazilian steakhouse at the time, and she had to take a written test, which she passed with a 98. So she knows what she's doing. As she was living here, things started to unfold a little bit. Her not taking care of her room, her not taking the dog out. Then the lies started. Why she couldn't come to work. I started noticing things that would come up, or things that I would find in my laundry, like urine stained towels from her dog that she wouldn't take out, that sort of thing. And I started calling her out on it. And I said, what's going on with the dog? Why aren't you taking him out? Running out on tabs. She tried licking the security guy's face. She was flashing people, mooning people, acting inappropriate. Absolutely inappropriate. She started trying to call out of work more, but I did the schedule. So I would literally say to her, there's nothing wrong with you. Get up and go to work. Because one night, she followed me to one of the local taverns in the neighborhood where I live and was so downright disrespectful. I have not shown my face in there again since. She was kissing on girls, twerking on men, just acting so inappropriate. And I said, this is not autism. It got to the point where I had men showing up at my house. I was sitting on the couch one night, and one tried to climb through one of the windows. And that's when I finally said, you need to leave. You need to find somewhere else to go. I don't have the money. Not my problem. You've been working for almost 3 months. I know what you're making in tips because I cash you out at the end of your shift. I run the reports. I know what kind of money you're bringing in. She was a fantastic waitress. Never got overwhelmed. She never got overstimulated. She did amazing with upselling. And this was a restaurant that sat 350 people. So finally, the day that I told her I had truly had enough, and I said, you have until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to get your stuff out of my house. Like, I was just done. I was done. Literally done. That morning, she was taking her own sweet time, yelling at me, saying it was my fault. Nobody loves her. Nobody cares about her. I had already talked to a few people she had done this to in the past. So I had an idea that I was just another victim of hers that she played on. She was taking her own sweet time, and I'm a nice person. Obviously, I opened my home to her, but I had had enough. I started throwing her stuff out on the sidewalk and told her to get in her car and leave. She said, well, my car won't start. Not my problem. Not my problem. Call someone. I released her from her position at work, told her she was no longer employed, and she had to find something else to do. So her car was parked out back behind my house in the alley, and she must have called some men that she had met along the way, the few months she was here, and a van pulled up full of men that helped her get her car started, and she left. If she comes back to my house, I'm going to have her arrested. I don't want to see her face again. So then she started messaging all my employees, saying how I kicked her out. She had nowhere to go. Could she stay with them? Could she borrow money? And they had had enough of her at this point. And it's funny that she's never really talked about me. And I find that to be kind of funny, but I'm okay with it too. But I think it's because she knows that I have an army of employees that would back me up with her behavior and how she acted inappropriately at work, inappropriately out on the town. I think from there she went to live in the homeless shelter, and that's where she ended up leaving her car. She had some guy do a video of her telling her story and how I had taken her GoFundMe money to buy eyelashes and fingernails, apparently. And Sarah paid for her to come down there. She just deserted her car here and left it. Someone probably stole it. But there were a lot of weird things that I started seeing with her, like where I'd knock on her door and she'd be like, come in, and she'd be like totally naked on her phone. So who knows what the hell she was doing. I'm thinking, after she left, I paid $150 to have her mattress removed because it was on the carpet. She never bought a bed frame. And I called him Frank, but Peter had peed so bad on the carpet in there that I was not about to give that mattress to anybody because it had probably absorbed a lot of it. All I know is that a lot of times he wasn't fed. I started noticing that he wanted, like my dogs would go in the kitchen and drink water, and Peter would hear that and he'd be like, oh. So I started giving him bowls of water. I did say to her, I said, just because you don't water and feed him doesn't mean he's not going to go potty on the carpet. It's just going to be stronger urine. And it's not healthy for him, for his kidneys, for any of that. She wasn't abusive to the dog as far as like physically, but she neglected his needs big time. Big time. And he was a sweetheart. And I just flipped. And I said, get your stuff and get out now. Like, you're not packing your stuff fast enough. Get out. And that's when I started throwing her stuff out the front door. Because I was just done. I was done. I was done with her filth. I was done with her not helping. I was done with her complaining, saying she couldn't work. She had a toothache. I threw a tube of Orajel at her the one day and said, put this on your gum and get to work. You're not dying. But I was watching her spend her money on things like contacts when she had a perfectly good pair of glasses to wear. Her whole... It's almost like she was putting it in my face that not only did I give her a home and was not charging her to live here at all, but I gave her a job where she was earning money and she was not saving a dime in early January of 2023. And it was funny because I was trying to remember when I finally had enough. April 5th was the day I kicked her out.